You ever had that strange feeling where something just clicks, like a puzzle piece falling into place, but only after the chaos? Maybe it was a conversation you had months ago that made no sense at the time, but now you're lying in bed thinking, damn, that's exactly what I needed to hear. That's what this video is. It's not going to land for everyone. It's not meant to, because some messages only unlock when you're ready. And you being here right now, that's no accident. You might have clicked this out of curiosity, or maybe it popped up when you weren't even looking for anything. But let me tell you something. Life has a weird way of handing you the truth when you least expect it, and exactly when you need it most. So if your stomach tightens a little while listening, or your mind starts connecting dots, it means this is the right time. Not yesterday, not next week. Now let's just be real. Nobody gives you a manual for this life. We all get tossed into the chaos, trying to figure things out while pretending like we've got it under control. But there comes a moment, just one, when a message finds you, and it feels like it's speaking straight to the version of you that's tired of faking it. And if that's where you're at right now, sit with this, because what's coming next might just be what you've been searching for without even knowing it. Most people aren't actually confused. They're just overloaded. Overloaded with everyone else's noise. Parents telling you what's safe. Friends telling you what's normal. Social media shoving the next success formula in your face. And through all that noise, your own inner voice gets drowned out. You stop trusting yourself. You start second-guessing every decision. And suddenly, your life starts to feel like a movie someone else is directing. But then a shift happens. It's not loud. It doesn't come with fireworks. It shows up like a whisper. Quiet, subtle, but damn near impossible to ignore. You start waking up with this gut feeling, like something's off, like you can't keep going the way you've been going. That whisper, that's your future self knocking. And this video, it's that moment where you stop brushing it off. See, most people will watch this and scroll past because it doesn't entertain them. But the ones who feel something right now, you're the ones life is nudging. Maybe not with a shove, maybe just a nudge, but it's real and it matters. It's like you're standing at the edge of something you can't fully see, but you know it's big. You can't explain it, but you know the way you've been living doesn't fit anymore. You've outgrown it. The thoughts, the habits, the distractions, they don't hit the same because you're not who you used to be. And that can feel freaking terrifying, but it's also powerful. So listen, if something inside you is waking up, don't run from it. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're just shifting. And shift feels uncomfortable at first, but that's because you're evolving in real time. There's this weird moment where everything around you still looks the same, but you don't feel the same anymore. Conversations that used to excite you now drain you. Habits that once gave comfort now feel like cages. And the craziest part? You can't even explain it to anyone because they'd look at you like you're just overthinking or being dramatic. But deep down, something shifted, quietly, permanently. You're starting to question things you used to accept without hesitation. You're noticing patterns, spotting manipulation where you used to give the benefit of the doubt, and the scariest realization, realizing how long you've been on autopilot, doing what's expected, not what's aligned. It's like you're peeling back layers of your life, and underneath, you're seeing a version of you that's been buried for years. The one that was always there. The one who didn't shrink. The one who didn't play small to keep the peace. And now, you can't go back. Even if you wanted to. You've seen too much, felt too much, grown too much. Not everyone around you is going to understand this phase. They'll say you've changed, like that's a bad thing. But the truth is, you were never you in front of them to begin with. They just loved the version of you that kept things easy, predictable, comfortable, the version of you that stayed quiet. But now, you've got that itch, that inner pull to do things your way, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. even if you can't explain it yet. And that's where most people fold, when it gets uncertain, when it stops being familiar. But you're still watching this because something inside you knows this isn't random. You didn't click on this by accident. You were meant to hear this right now. There's a point where you don't just wake up. You wake up to the fact that you've been asleep for years. Not physically, no, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You start realizing how much of your life was lived through borrowed beliefs. How many of your choices weren't really yours. They were programmed into you from teachers, parents, media, society, just layers stacked on top of your real self like dust on a mirror. And now, piece by piece, you're wiping it clean. It's unsettling at first, because when you finally stop numbing yourself with distractions and really sit with it, you notice how many of your dreams weren't yours, how many relationships weren't real, how many friends were just people who liked your silence more than your truth. And now that you're seeing clearly, you can't unsee it. You start recognizing energy, vibes, when someone's being fake, when someone's using you, when a room drains you, when a habit is slowly killing your potential. And it's not that you've become bitter or cynical, you've become alert. There's a huge difference between being paranoid and being aware. You're not paranoid, you're finally aware. Aware of how sacred your time is, aware of how easy it is to sell your soul for comfort, aware of how peace is more valuable than popularity. This isn't a random phase. This is your inner world waking up from a coma. And it's messy sometimes. You'll feel lonely. You'll second guess yourself. You'll go through days where everything feels off and uncertain, but you'll also feel something real for the first time in a long time. Alignment. It's not the kind of clarity that gives you all the answers. It's the kind that tells you you're on the right path, even if you can't see the destination yet. So, if this is finding you now, just know you're not lost. You're just shedding the layers that were never really yours to begin with. You'll notice something wild happens right around this stage of your journey. Silence becomes loud, not the outside kind, inside silence. You stop forcing conversations. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't want to understand you. You stop entertaining anything that feels like noise to your nervous system. That's not you becoming distant. That's you becoming selective. And that's growth. Because now you're starting to understand the value of your presence. You walk into a room and you can feel who's real without a single word. You listen to someone talk and your intuition already knows their intention. That's not paranoia. That's refinement. You've refined your awareness. And with that comes a subtle kind of power. Not loud, not flashy, but unshakable. Like you're finally starting to trust the voice inside that used to whisper. Now it speaks clearly. And guess what? A lot of people won't get it. They'll call you distant, cold, even arrogant. But it's not your job to dim your truth so they can stay comfortable in their illusion. Let them misunderstand you. Let them gossip. Let them say whatever they want, because you know the difference between isolation and alignment. You're not pushing people away. You're just choosing not to entertain what drains you anymore. And that's not ego. That's self-respect. You might have noticed lately. You're not reacting the way you used to. Something that would have pissed you off a year ago. Now you just look at it, blink, and walk away. Not because you're numb, not because you don't care, but because your peace is finally worth more than being right, proving a point, or winning a fake argument. That's how you know you're leveling up. You don't need everyone to get it. You don't need to broadcast your growth. You don't even need to prove anything anymore. Why? Because you're starting to embody it, quietly, powerfully. And here's what people won't tell you. Growth is lonely sometimes. You'll outgrow conversations. You'll find silence more comforting than company. You'll feel like you're not fitting in anywhere. But that's the thing. You're not meant to fit in anymore. You're meant to stand out, not with noise, but with clarity, with calm, with depth, with the kind of energy that can't be explained, only felt. And the truth is, Once you hit this level of awareness, you can't unsee it. You can't fake it. You can't go back to pretending the old you still fits in rooms you've already outgrown. So stop trying. Let the old rooms echo without you. Let the old roles die. Let the old masks fall off. Because the you who's emerging now is finally real. And that version doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't break, just to keep peace. That version listens, observes, chooses, and above all, knows. And here's something you've probably been sensing already. You're not really seeking answers anymore. You're seeking alignment. You don't care about collecting more advice, more steps, more to-do lists for your healing. You're starting to realize the real shift doesn't happen by thinking more. It happens by feeling less resistance, by letting go. That's why lately silence has become your favorite language. That's why you'd rather sit alone in peace than be surrounded by noise that drains you. And maybe people around you don't get it. Maybe they say you've changed. Maybe they wonder why you're more distant. But deep down, you know you're not pulling away out of bitterness. You're pulling inward out of clarity. You've begun to sense that not everything deserves your energy, that not everything needs a response. And most importantly, that not every connection is meant to last forever. Some are just mirrors to show you where you were never supposed to stay. That realization hits different when you're actually living it. You used to chase closure. Now, you give yourself peace without permission. You used to over-explain. Now, you leave them on red, not out of ego, but out of respect for your own time, your own boundaries, your own damn growth. And it's not always glamorous. Healing doesn't look like yoga on a beach at sunset. It looks like crying in your room at 2 a.m., then wiping your face and deciding to show up the next day anyway. It looks like deleting the message you were about to send because you finally understand that silence is the answer. It looks like outgrowing things you once prayed for, not because they were bad, but because you're finally becoming better. So if you're watching this and something inside you feels like it just clicked, trust it. This wasn't a random video. You didn't just scroll your way into this moment by accident. This is what alignment feels like. When the right message finds you right before you need it most, it doesn't come with a big announcement. It just lands quietly, but it lands exactly where it needs to. And maybe this isn't the loudest video on your feed, but sometimes the quietest things carry the loudest truth. So take a breath. Let it sink in. You're not late. You're not behind. You're just waking up right on time. And now that you're here, don't just scroll away like this never happened. Let me know in the comments. Right on time. Just that. If this message found you, if it really resonated, type those 3 words below. It's not for the algorithm. It's not for anyone else. It's just a quiet little signal between us that you heard it, that you're ready now. And if this felt like something you want more of, you already know what to do. Tap that subscribe button. Stay close. Because this was just the beginning. We're only going up from here.